my boomers? It's me, Melanie Mac, here on my social commentary channel, Melanie Mac Go Boom. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. So, for today's video, the Tomb Raider community is wilding again. They're arguing with each other. What else is new? There's always people who are going to try to, and this is a thing with the Tomb Raider community too, is like, if there are any disagreements on anything, especially it's the reboot fans, I'm just going to call it like it is. It's the reboot fans, because not all reboot fans, obviously, but the ones who are creating a lot of the toxicity and going for personal attacks and all that, it's always the reboot fans. You can bet money on it, because they're extremely toxic. Now, I'm just gonna read this instead of paraphrasing. All right, so Smash Lara made this tweet, says news. Javicia Leslie, star of the CW's Batwoman, has expressed interest in playing Lara Croft. I'm claiming it now. I'm going to be the next Tomb Raider. Listen, I love to claim my roles in interviews, so that way I can show you this power works. Source, Shadow and Axe. Sounds like she's trying to manifest it. Hey, you know what? She wants the role. Good for her. Who wouldn't want that role? Go ahead and claim it. Put it out there. Do what you want to do. But you can't expect everybody to want that as well. And that's okay. Now, a lot of people some of the comments have been hidden by the original tweet author, and they turned off replies, which I think is dumb, but hey, I ain't gonna tell other people how to run their account. Yeah, that's one thing I refuse to do. I have never turned off replies, even during like a giant cancel campaign against me, because I feel like that's the wussiest thing to do. And I don't know, I love this account, and I like them, but yeah, come on now. Open them replies, let's go. But anyway, this is a common sense thing, and unfortunately the internet lacks common sense. So this does not warrant an entire video, because everybody should know better, but I'm just gonna say the obvious anyway. If you're a fan of something and a fictional character, you want the actor to look like the character they are portraying. Period. Point blank. Nothing racist about it. End of discussion. There's really nothing more to add. But, since the internet is full of idiots, we have to say this. Now, this also applies for people crying racist. This applies to so much more. It's not just because she's black. Like, if we were to have someone like Brie Larson say the same thing, which would be incredibly stupid, the people would be, honestly, there would be even worse backlash, probably. First of all, because Brie Larson is insufferable, but second of all, even that aside, she's way too light complected to pull off a Lara Croft. She's, you can always say, oh, put a brown wig on her and some brown eye contacts. It doesn't work. You can't just, whenever you're that light complected, you can't just pull off that really dark hair and it look like that. Even though I think she has had darker hair before, but I'm just going to say no. And especially, what about the actress from that Vikings movie? I forgot what it was called, because the Northman, okay? The actress who was just very elf-like looking, super light skin, super light hair, super light eye color. Dude, like, you can't throw a brown wig on her and call her Lara Croft. It wouldn't work. It would look stupid. So yeah, this isn't a matter of just a race issue. It's about, hey, you want the actor to look like the character, and there's nothing racist about it. Look at Tom Holland playing Nathan Drake. Do you realize how many people were like, dude, he doesn't look like Nathan Drake, and complained about it? It's not about race. You can even be the same race and clearly not be able to portray the character. Now, Lara Croft was originally created to be Laura Cruz, and so there is, and especially given, like, in the first game, she did have tan skin. She has the big lips and all that, which aren't traditionally European features, even though some not say you can't have those features and be European, but they're not trademark European features. They're not common hugely common among European features. So, that being said, can you have some more wiggle room for, can there be like a lot of women who would have that aesthetic and actually can look like Lara Croft who aren't Caucasian? Yes. But in this case, it's just, she doesn't look like Lara Croft. It's just how it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with anybody who'd be okay with it. If someone's a fan of her and says, hey, I like her, look at that. Like, I think she'd be a great Lara Croft. She really embodies her. Great. You know what? No problem with that. But to call people who want Lara Croft to look like Lara Croft racist is just absolutely absurd. And we're living in clown upside down world. Now, I saw a tweet on my timeline earlier regarding this. I'm not going to pull it up because I don't, but anyway, and somebody said something to the effect of, they were mocking people who said that. They said, Lara Croft is white. And then they replied to it saying, Lara Croft isn't real. And this is always the rebuttal to people who have no valid argument. Is always, but Lara Croft isn't real. But insert character here isn't real. Get over it. They're not real. First of all, they're very real to a lot of us. Lara Croft is more real to me than most real people are. She's been a huge impact in my life, and I'm freaking obsessed with the character. Secondly, by that logic, that means anything goes, you moron. That means you can... That means you can just, okay, we're just going to hire a 600-pound man to play Lara Croft, because Lara Croft isn't real, guys! It makes zero sense, but this is what the internet is like right now. Yeah. People will reach to any extent, because when they don't have a valid argument, when they can't call people, it's like, oh, you disagree with me, you don't like what I like, let me spin this around and make a personal attack on your character and call you a racist or this and ist or this and that or a phobe or this or the other because you don't like what I like in video games. It's stupid. Now, all this said, do I think that if somebody were to be a voice actor, do they have to look like the character? No. So, I don't know what her voice sounds like. I haven't seen her stuff. But, hey, I really don't care what the voice actor looks like in that case. So, hey, if she wanted to do voice acting, maybe she could. But, do I think she would make a good live-action Lara Croft? I mean, maybe she's got the personality. I don't know. But she definitely wouldn't be my first choice because I want a live-action Lara Croft to actually resemble and look like Lara Croft. If this happened, it would absolutely appear to be pandering on the other side. I don't know. I'd have to see more of what she does. I wouldn't be completely against a black Lara Croft if, like, the actress absolutely just embodied her super well. Like, so someone like Angelina Jolie. Because when you really look at someone like Angelina who portrays a good Lara, because most of what makes her such a good Lara is in her attitude. Now, obviously, her look, she has a lot of the trademark features. She's got the big lips, but she doesn't exactly have the right coloring. She doesn't have the tan skin, and but she does have the big lips. But she's got the attitude, man, and she's got, like, she just pulls it off. So, am I saying there's not a single black actress in the world who could pull off Lara Croft? No. I think in an ideal situation, when you're casting from a video game or something of that nature, you want a resemblance as close as possible in both appearance and attitude, demeanor, personality, all that. You need that perfect combo. So, hey, there are situations where it could work, but it probably wouldn't compared to, what other options are out there for people who will look more like a character than somebody else. So, there's that. let me go ahead and read some comments from recent videos. Stan says, nutrition classes, please try not to get triggered when the vegans sound out. This is so funny because, like, the vegans are already really mad at me. My video I made about Robert Downey Jr.'s vegan diet, yeah, I guess it hit vegan YouTube because it just started making waves again, even though, I made that video like a month ago or so. Look at this email I got. It says, I run the channel, and I blurred the name out because I ain't giving people clout who just want clout from me. I run the channel Vegan YouTuber, and I saw the stupid video you made about Robert Downey Jr. and how you think vegan diets are unhealthy for humans. I'd love to debate you on this topic and embarrass your R word, Christian, but publicly. Let me know if you are interested in being humiliated in front of a live audience. Thank you. And then I just I didn't even reply. I'm not going to dignify it with a reply. It was first of all, the grain brain is making you so triggered to where you can't even have a civil discussion. You might want to consider your diet if your attitude is making you that, or if your diet is making you that moody. Because let's be real, a lot of our mental health is diet related as well. So if you got a ton of issues like that and you're that unstable, yeah, sounds like grain brain. All right, I'm gonna make a whole video about this, but I'm going to. I've got multiple vegan YouTubers who are mad at me, and people and their communities are like, debate this person, dude. I ain't debating anybody. Eat what you want and I'll eat what I want. Debate done. Why the freaking crap do I care? I ain't gonna convince nobody. I ain't got no agenda here. Alright, so Outlaw2 says, these studios need to have a super fan consult to point out inconsistencies and lore issues. I nominate Melanie for Tomb Raider. And you know what's funny is they have had me consult with them on Tomb Raider project, like even with the rebooted games. Now, I signed NDAs and all that kind of stuff back then. Obviously, it's been a while ago. It's been years and years ago. But even as early as, it was for Shadow of the Tomb Raider's development. It was all for that. Now, I got brought on, not like super brought on to make any, like, to consult about any huge things, but the first thing, like, they asked my opinion on some things to do with, like, extra features and stuff like that. It wasn't story or anything, but then I did get consulted with again later on about some later things, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get like too I don't want to get too specific because I don't know what all with the NDAs and all that kind of stuff. I'd have to look it over, but I don't want to break any NDA, even though it's been years and years. But myself and at least one other person from the community were consulted for something. Two different things. One thing, they just didn't even listen to a word we said. It was like they wanted our input on something. We gave it, and they basically said, well, it's too late to change it now. So it was like, well, then why did you even ask? But the other thing, there was a little bit more time, and they did consult with us, showed us multiple versions of something, and said, which one do you like better? And we said which one, and they went with that. So it actually, in that case, worked out. But it wasn't for, like, really big things. But yeah, hey, if they ever wanted to consult with me on something, I 1000% would do it. But given how I am very open about things I don't like that Crystal Dynamics does, and how I do think they've mishandled the franchise, I wouldn't count on it. But I, at the very least, would like to see them consult with other members of the community, because I think there are people who are actually creating stuff. You look at, like, Nico Boss, who has worked on the fan-made Tomb Raider 2 project. You got a lot of fan artists and stuff like that who have just an insane amount of talent and who understand classic Lara. They absolutely should be consulting with them, if not flat out hiring them. All right, Jesse says, this isn't a Halo problem, but Hollywood itself. They love crapping on every franchise they touch, prioritizing virtue signaling rather than respecting the lore. Which is true. I mean, and the sad thing, though, is video games are turning into Hollywood, the industry in general. I mean, it has been for a while, and that's why we're seeing a bunch of virtue signaling, and we're seeing activism, and we're seeing a message get priority over fun, over accuracy, over everything else. And it's stupid because people care more about, you know, whatever the message is than they do just making something fun. Cryptomike says, as someone who's also spent some time away from God, I can attest that life with him is better than life without. I've been there and back, and it's a much darker world over there. Happiness can be found in him. 1000% agree. 1000%. Rye says, growing up, I felt like I was the only one who didn't drink. The constant push to drink from friends and other family members made me feel like I was the big weirdo. It got to a point that I could barely hang out with them, even online. Never did drugs, and I drank maybe 4 times in my life. Once with my cousins on my 21st birthday, then my ex made me drink with her on the other 3 times. Only that crazy demon lady could talk me into things I never really wanted to do. Sorry, I'm laughing. I'm sorry. I just never cared for the taste or how it made me feel. And hearing how it can mess you up in the long road. Alcohol did, unfortunately, take my uncle's life, starting from scoliosis of the liver. I am so sorry. That's terrible. Which he got better from $10,000 a bottle of pills, then died a year later from stage 4 cancer in 2020. He had a full body scan after he was cured of scoliosis, detecting no cancer. After that, a bunch of my family members stopped drinking, and I haven't talked about drinking since. That's a thing, like I said in my video. I think, hey, people should do what they want to do, you know, but at the end of the day, drinking, especially as excessively as what is commonly acceptable in society, is very toxic, very terrible for you. And it's just crazy to me that if you don't drink, you're looked at like some kind of weirdo. All right, and so now we have this comment from Dorothy, and she was referring to what I said about transgender girls who like feminine characters, hyper feminine characters like Lara Croft. Dorothy says, me and all the other trans gals I know prefer the feminine types in girls in games and comics, because that's the look we strive for. Also, I like your natural hair. It looks nice. Do the best you. Thank you, Dorothy. That's so sweet. And yeah, I mean, that's, like I said in another video, that's been from every transgender woman I know prefers the hyper feminine female characters. Like so I just think it's a dumb argument that virtue signalers have to try to defeminize these characters, because in the name of inclusivity, it's a stupid argument. All right, Ben says, Melanie Mac, please read this. I don't care what anyone says about the series. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm a huge Halo fan. I mean, that ring reveal was so beautiful, and Master Chief fighting all those brute chieftains at the same time was epic. Also, Master Chief is not dead. Trust me. He took a fatal blow from Atriox and went unconscious. And also, the latest Halo game is gold, especially the campaign. And in my opinion, Halo is not even as close to hopelessness as the Tomb Raider franchise is. No offense, lovable man, Melanie. None taken. All right. Oh yeah, I already addressed that comment in my last video. Okay, let me go ahead and go to the verse of the day. Romans 6:12 is what I have chosen for today's verse. And it says, let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body to make you obey its passions. And I just think this is so succinct. And I think it's important to remember is that the more sin, we're all going to sin. We're all sinners. It's just how it is. But, you know, we need to strive to do better. But the more that we entertain sin and the more that we try to justify it or we just make excuses and stuff like that, then the more that sin is going to grow. Because that's the thing about it. Yeah. And so it's just like, self-discipline is so important, and I think a lot of temptations and stuff like that become more difficult when we dwell on those temptations and we try to make excuses for them. And we just let stuff slide and we're like, oh, okay, so it's just important to, resilience, man. Resilience is key. And I feel like society loves to demonize discipline, self-discipline. They want to act like, treat yourself. It's constantly a thing. And do I think in some situations, like where it's, if you're talking about some things like eat cake sometimes. Yeah, go for it. Treat yourself. It's your birthday. You want to have a birthday cake? Yeah. Have a birthday cake. Dude, I don't care. Have a whole cheat day. Eat 5,000 calories. It's your birthday. But that's like a very special occasion. But do I think that if you're constantly going to be saying, treat yourself, treat yourself, treat yourself, okay, I'm going to treat myself, well, then eventually you're going to spiral out of control. So this is a similar parallel. And I think society is just so, it teaches us to feed our carnal desires all the time. And many times our carnal desires are not beneficial to us. So self-discipline is so extremely important. So anyway, there you have it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. And in the meantime, go boom.